Good morning, everyone. It is the first day of September, and it's also Wednesday, September 1st. Let's kind of look at SPY and the Qs really quick. I don't know why SPY is 46 here. Hold on. Hello. Well, this is not going that well. Okay, there we go. Excuse me. Sorry, I meant to look at SPY. All right. So if you look at the chart, we're back around the all-time highs. All-time highs level 453, and pre-market today we are slightly gapping above that so far. And if you look at the Qs, it's a similar chart. Whether we hold above it and break down above it, I just hope we don't chop. The reason we would start getting choppy is, let's say at the open, we break down this level of 453s, then that's when we'll start to chop. Because whenever we trade, if you look at a daily chart on SPY and overall market and really just any stock you are looking to trade, especially a large caps, if you're trading within the range, as in let's say today we open at 453, but we drop back to 452. Then we're in between the level of the daily support at 450. You can see that the bottom end of the candle from yesterday and the day before, 450s, and then upside we have 453. If we're just trading within this range, for SPY, this is between like 3 points, then that's when we start to chop. It's the same with all the other large cap stocks. That's why a lot of times I don't look at stocks that's just within the daily resistance and daily support, because it's going to chop. It's going to take a while to figure out whether we're going to break out or break below. So this is a key level. So far, so good. We're holding above it. And today is Wednesday. Okay. So if we hold this key level on the overall market, then we should start trending back up. First of all, we're going to test the pre-market highs from yesterday, and above it, then you have all-time highs again. So far, I'm thinking bullish on the market unless we break down this key level again. If we break down, we might see some short-term volatility, but I don't think we'll see anything drastic unless we break down 451s or 450s. Usually you see more volatility near the end of the week. That's why I checked whether today is Wednesday or Friday. But so far, this is the key level, 453s. Okay, Q, same thing, very similar chart. We are back over all-time highs again, 380s. 380s right here. Today looking like the SPY, right? If we hold above the key level on the tech stocks, we should continue rallying up unless we break down this key level, and then we're gonna chop between here and the 379s first of all, and then 378s. But so far it's a decent small gap, nothing major. We're gonna talk about the individual stocks. The first one, skills. All right. So we're going to talk about first. So this stock is up with, Wall Street Bets hype again for, I don't know how many times. I mean, they've been hyping up the stock since pretty much April. I remember April or February. No, February. Okay. That's the height of all the hype, correct? And we're seeing a lot of these dead cat bounces. If you remember SPC, that was also part of Wall Street Bets from yesterday. And then there's also Corsair, CRSR, that I remember seeing it yesterday. Also got, well, not really pumped up, but just hyped up. SKLZ was one that was really popular with Wall Street Bets name. And also Kathy Wood, I think, invested a lot with her fund in the stock. But I just remember, for the people who were here in February, well, not February, okay, April, do you remember this day when the stock, seems to have found the bottom around $12 and had a strong day to close at 16, and next day gapped up to $19, and at the open, they just sold off like no bounce city. Anyone who was there trading that with me? Because it was not fun. I was trading on the long side, and that's why looking at this today, this really reminds me of that gap up and sell off on the second day. If you look at the chart, I was kind of scrolling over. This is something you should do for the stocks that you see are coming back and they had traded in a similar way before. So if you look at this April 22nd, I will edit. Let me find it out. This is like the most basic homework you should do. No, this is, sorry. Give me a second. Bear with me here. Hold on. Sorry about this. I had a screenshot earlier and I accidentally deleted it. No, we're close. Okay. Is it this day? No. This day. I remember. Yeah. So you can see that's the day it rallied up. Strong close, just like yesterday, right? If you look at, that day was stronger. But if you look at the volume traded yesterday, it was getting up there, right? The high volume breakout days, yesterday it traded 36 million. On this day, it traded 59. And the day we're looking at right here, historical data is 89. But if you look at this day, the second day is followed by a gap up all the way to $20 and just sold off, no bounce city. So if that happens today, don't try to bounce it. I'm telling you, you will never forget. Trading stocks is kind of like dating. You'll never forget getting dumped. I will never forget Skills, Moderna, the stock that dumped on me was not fun. When I was looking for support, all I was met was resistance. Not fun. So if that happens today, if it just kind of like dumps on you, don't try to catch the falling knife. You guys subscribe for day trading education. You didn't know you're getting a dating advice as well. That's a bonus, guys. So when I was looking at the stock, it was trading around 13s. 13s was fine, but we're getting up there around the daily resistance around the 14s. So if we do the same sort of parabolic move we saw on the chart from April, if it does go parabolic, especially if it tests 1420s, I'd actually look to, especially if it runs up into the open like it did on the chart we just looked at, then that's where I'll start looking at around a short, risking around the 1420s. Especially if we kind of just break through at the open. I usually would only do that near the open, not pre-market. So I'm not in the position right now. But if we pull back from 14s and curl back down to around like 1330s, 1340s, then I think we will get a potential upside again after it pulls back. It needs to pull back. It hasn't done that at all pre-market. Man, I had the key level down all the way down here, but it's a little bit too low. Let's just see. Because when I was looking at it earlier, it was trading around there. But you just have to understand there's both two sides to the trade. And depending on how it opens, if it rallies into the open, like goes parabolic, then that'll be a short for me. But if it drops pre-market, consolidate around this lower 13s, 1320s, 1330s, consolidate, reclaim VWAP, then we could potentially see more upside. It's a pretty hyped up stock though. The only reason it's up is because Wall Street Bets, they're discussing it. If the stock does break down this key level, 1330s, then that's when we get the same gap down, sell off the entire gap like it did in April, all the way to prior day's close. Remember the chart, I'll post a chart later, or you can find it yourself. Remember the chart, it sold off the entire gap to prior day's close. But keep in mind, this stock has been very beaten down, sold out from 20s down to almost like $10. So it is really beaten down. So if it does rally, it could still keep on going, especially if it passes through 14s, right? So if you are doing the shorts, if the stock does pass through 1420s, you want to respect your risk. Above 14s, this thing has upside to 15s. Just it's also easy to borrow. Okay, so very important to keep in mind. All right. Plans, skills. This is skills. And then we have plan. So this is the earnings winner today. Wait, hold on. That's a good question. Are we looking at morning panic dip buy or VWAP reclaim? This is not a stock. I want to do morning panic dip buy. So VWAP reclaim would be better after it's setting a low. Okay, knowing the stock has a history of not bouncing, you don't want to do morning panic dip buy. So you don't want to do that on stocks like mRNA either. Yeah. Skill. No, we talked about skill. Plan. This is earnings beat. I had the numbers up earlier. They beat on everything, including guidance. I believe. I mean, just too many monitors. I mean, too many. Okay. So they beat on EPS, revs, and also the company guided up. Huge gap up. This is more than 10%, almost 10% gap, I believe. Prior day's close is around $60, gapped up all the way to 70s. Now we're pulling back $69. If you look at a daily chart, we are getting into these daily levels. I do think, with a gap up this big, hold on, how many percentage is the gap? Right now, 9%. No, I can't do math. 15%. 15% gap up. I do think that we need to retrace some. So that's where I got a Fibonacci, not retracements. Yeah, Fibonacci retracements. Thinking that the key level is gonna be the 6750s over here. If it does bounce off that level and reclaims VWAP, right? We're not trying to catch a falling knife. I prefer to see a double bottom or higher lows once it bounces off the key level. Then look for reversal back to the upside. Upside, you have the pre-market high 71, 72s. I don't know if we could keep on going today. Also, it really depends on what SPY does and whether we hold that 453's key level on the overall market. But this is an earnings beat, so hopefully we get some follow through, kind of like the stock. What's that stock we saw yesterday? APPS. We'll just continue the upside. But I'm more bullish on this. But again, I want to make sure the market's holding above the key levels as well. Yes, I forgot to talk about GBS, the small cap stock. We have a lot on watch today. We have GBS and also AMC. Oh, okay. Now I know why I took it off. It's breaking down the key level. Key level $5. And the reason that's the key level is because, first of all, I tried to hold that level and reclaimed earlier. When I was watching it was kind of trying to consolidate. I was thinking they're going to hold that key level and reclaim the VWAP and trap. And also on the daily, that key level right here, right? That wick around 5. Resistance 5, prior support 5. So that's why this $5 area is really important. But the fact that we're breaking down, it's already dead. Unless they reclaim this after the open, which they really could. If they reclaim this, then this could rally up. It's a low float name too. I don't remember the news. I didn't find the news, but yeah, and also it's hard to borrow. So I wouldn't be able to short it either. But this key level is important. You have if we stay below this, you have downside to $4, 380s. Okay, we talked about plan skills. Let's talk about AMC really quick. So AMC, I remember, sure, it had a small gap up overnight after hours. But yesterday, it was, let's say, yesterday had a nice rally and a little dump and then back to highs after hours. And pre-market today, we kind of hit around the 48.50s, 48, and now we're kind of back to the prior day's close. So, and if you look at the daily, a lot of wicks, a lot of selling pressure on the 48s up here. 48 and above it, you have room to 50, which is still decent upside. But I don't like the fact that we're not holding the 48s, which you could also say they're just trapping pre-markets. A lot of times these stocks, they stay below daily resistance, but at the open, they just bounce off some support. And especially with a stock like AMC, a lot of times they do pop at the open. But if it does pop 48.50, so you also don't want to chase into it. Recently, the way I've been trading AMC on the long side is I don't touch it the first 10 minutes. I like to see the range and whether it's setting like a higher lows for long, or if it breaks through daily resistance and actually hold above it. So if you kind of look at the prior, we can just use yesterday as an example. yesterday is an example. So a lot of times you can see, yesterday, if you ignore these three lines, if you look at yesterday, the way it was trading pre-market, it's below yesterday's highs, but then you quickly broke above it at the opens pretty much, and then you pulled back just beneath it and held a higher low in comparison to the open. So I would much prefer to buy the dips after the breakout on AMC than to try to buy the breakout for, like, let's say I got in on a breakout 45.70s and sold at 46.50s. Not saying this isn't money to be made there, but I much prefer to buy the dips. I prefer, especially on a stock that's as emotional as AMC, don't buy the breakouts. So that's what I'm thinking. Either you wait for it to break above 48 after the open, which it could, and let it set in 5-10 minutes, see if it sets a higher low, then that will be a better entry. Or you just wait for the stock to actually start trending above the 48. Above 48's key level, then you have upside to $50. For 49.50s. The short side would be, let's see. I think the short side will only be around $50. Like 49, even 49, it's okay. But I think if I was looking to short, I would only look at $50. I'm more neutral on AMC today because if you look at the chart, it had never, within the last, since pretty much since the end of June, it never held a fourth green day. 1, 2, like rally day looks strong. The third day it sells off. Same, you don't have consecutive. Okay, but here you have like consecutively 4 green candles. But at the same time, it's also not like a big breakout move, right? With a lot of volume. Same thing here, 1, 2, 3. Fourth day spikes, test yesterday's highs and sell off. Today is going to be a fourth day on this rally. So keep that in mind. That's why there's always both sides to trade. Okay. Why is there so many stocks today? There's one more. But I think I might leave this for a side watch. Lucid Motors. No, we'll just talk about it really quick. So I think I'll talk about this, but to just in the sense that don't try to catch the falling knife on Lucid. LCID. This used to be CCIV. So they are gapping down, selling off with because the pipe lockup is expired. So that means prior investors can sell. There's a different lockup periods for different investors. So there's a lot of people who can sell to this. So the stock is breaking down the 17.40s and probably going lower to $16 than $14. We'll see. SSR is going to trigger. I don't know if there will be a trade on this. I will only short it if it bounces to 17s. Ideally 1750s. It's kind of hard to chase it. It's good. SSR is going to trigger for sure. So this is going to be more of a side watch, but I just kind of want to warn you guys to not catch the falling knife on Lucid. Okay, we're going to talk about the side watches now. Why is there so many tickers today? Don't try to trade everything. Pick the one or two that fits the setups.